Hello, how's everybody doing? This is Dan Smith. This is July 9th, 2026. So we see what's going on with Iran and the U.S. Trump says the ceasefire is over because Iran keeps firing on the ships. And so now we're striking them 20 times to 1. So that means they hit once, we hit 20 times harder, or the U.S. does. I don't know why I keep saying we, but so the U.S. is, gonna. But remember, the main prophecy here with Iran and U.S. war is when you see U.S. soldiers set on fire. Now, I heard just earlier today that maybe Trump's thinking about taking Karg Island. Iran said, hey, you get on Karg Island, that's it. We're going to destroy your soldiers with fire. Well, I've been prophesying this fire attack ever since February 27th. And the battle I saw March 16th in a prophetic dream from the Lord. Posted it March 17th. So when we see U.S. soldiers set on fire by some type of fiery trap, and it may be on Karg Island, I don't know where it's at, but I just know what I was shown and what I went through. See, I didn't just see it, I went through it. Where fire was raising up, almost being sprayed on me, coming up, climbing up my whole left side of my body. I was sitting on my bed, wide awake in the middle of the day, watching TV, and this happened. And I saw all these flames, and then when it got up here to the pinnacle of the top of my head, I knew I was dead, and I felt the terror of that. And that's why I wish I could get over to people, that it's not just, oh, I saw a vision. Yeah, I went through it too. The fear of it, the fear of these soldiers dying. I felt their terror when they realize they're being consumed by a fiery substance that's going to kill them. I went through the fear of that. It's that's why this ministry is not fun for some people, okay? We always read in the Old Testament about the Old Testament prophets, and we think, oh, it would have been so great to be a prophet. No, it wouldn't. No, you think that. I understand, but you really don't know what these prophets go through, even in the Old Testament. I bet they, well, you could just read about that. But a lot of people don't really know, that when the Lord gives a revelation sometimes to some prophets, I don't know why, but I happen to be one of them. And I think it's a rare thing, I don't know. But the rare thing is that I go through also the emotional terror that the person's going to experience, and, that sucks, but it's what God is doing, and, God is the boss, so I just have to grin and take it, and so, but it's a terrifying thing, to be overcome with flames while you're sitting in your bed, and you could see at the top of these, after I was overcome with those flames, I saw another wall of fire. And at the top, I saw all these heads of these generals and commanders at the top. And we just saw that, last month I posted a video where they're putting pictures, Iran is taking pictures of the dead commanders and generals and putting them on top of their missiles before they fire them at U.S. and Bahrain and everywhere else, so, yeah. The thing to look for is the how you'll know when we're at that point is when you, and I thought about this too, the media and the White House, they might, if our soldiers get consumed with this fire like I saw and other prophets have seen, I was wondering if the White House would hide that for a while, maybe they might hide that fact, I don't know, or if it's just going to be an all-out blaster, hey, they, just killed a lot of our soldiers, with this fiery thing, and, but that's when I saw in the prophetic dream, March 16th, that we're just going to, or the U.S. is just going to obliterate Iran after we see the soldiers consumed by fire. Are we at that point? I think we're getting very close to seeing that happen, folks. I think we're getting close to that point. I knew there was no peace deal going to work out, you know. We all know that. But the prophecy that I received tells you that too. Because what I saw in my prophetic dream, March 16th, was that after these soldiers are set on fire, America is just going to just obliterate Iran and throw them back in the Stone Age. But, however, in the scriptures, it says that Elam, which is Iran, will be allowed to rebuild their country eventually. Now, America has 12 and a half years until 2039, until they fall. Yes, America will fall in 2039. I have received that when I was 22 years old, and didn't receive the date, actually, from God. This is not me making a date. It's God setting a date. I saw it through open vision, okay? And you know, if you're saved, all this can be confirmed to you by the Holy Spirit. If you truly know how to get in touch with God through the Holy Spirit, it can be confirmed. So don't tell me God doesn't set dates. Read the Old Testament. Yes, he does. I'm tired of going through it over and over, trying to tell people. You know, I'm not trying to convince you of anything. I'm just doing what God says to do. It's on you to do your homework. Through my videos, look at my videos since 2020. Look at the Old Testament, how God gave, he told Jonah, warn Nineveh, they got 40 days. Jeremiah, warn Jerusalem, they got 2 years. God gives timelines and dates, folks. So anyway, you know, I believe we're getting really close to seeing the prophecy fulfilled, you know, of the U.S. soldiers getting set on fire. Maybe it's when they set foot on Karg Island. I don't know what island it is, but they were on Iranian soil when I saw this, and boots on the ground. And after that, boy, it's just going to be an all-out battle. And the U.S. is going to knock them back for the next 10, 12 years. There will not be nuclear bombs used on Iran. Trump is not going to nuke Iran. Do you hear? There will be no nuclear blast from U.S. on Iran. Okay? So, anyways, folks, that's the prophecy, and I think we're getting close to seeing that being fulfilled. Pray for those soldiers and their families. You know, I hate war. I hate death. I hate war. And I hate horrible things that happen like that. And I feel for these families because, you know, these families, they got little kids that are never going to see their kids return. They're never going to see their parents return from Iran, from all this. The ones that consumed by the fire, I just hope that every soldier over there is praying to Jesus for salvation. Because this is not a game, okay? I went through the terror of what they're going to go through, okay? And I'm not saying it's all the soldiers over there, no. But it's going to be a good number of them that get consumed by this fire. And that's what's going to set it all off for the entire full-blown scale, you know, attack on Iran. America's not going to hold back after that. So, just pray. Pray that those soldiers have the sense to seek Jesus Christ. Take care.